Flipping the Pyramid. www.flippingthepyramid.co.uk.
Yeah.
Apple was granted a patent last week that will enable it to wirelessly disable the camera on iPhones in certain locations.
Really?
Sparking fears that such technologies could be used to prevent citizens from communicating with each other or taking video during protests or political conventions and gatherings. Indeed.
Interesting.
Glad I haven't
Check
got
the
one.
last article. That's weird, man. Some Thai group say that Steve Jobs is reincarnated as warrior philosopher. The whole article just it's fucking ridiculous.
This is the new one that's coming out in about a month, isn't it? The 5S, is it? They're going to do that one.
It's just going to be like the 4. It's going to look no fucking different. It's going to do exactly the same. This is what Apple are good at, you see. They're really good at marketing. Their boys there certainly earn their money.
Yeah, it's all
The
about
first iPhone was shit. Absolute shit. Didn't even have 3G, and 3G had been around for years. Long time. It's just fucking awful. It's just, you pay a premium for a device that don't work. It doesn't do what my old shit phone.
That patent will basically allow them to do that retroactively to anyone that's got an iPhone that's synced it.
But I would, my instinct tell me that the jailbreak community will work around that, no worries.
Yeah.
Because it's only works when the software is still completely closed as Apple intended. When you jailbreak it, you break through that and you can take off and do what you want. So it's always a good idea. Hardly surprising though, seeing as they got in trouble for storing tracking data from iPhones in the US.
Yeah. It does add in as well, obviously, to the shit like when they shut the cell phone networks down around protests and shit like that.
Yeah.
Which is becoming more prevalent over the last several months. Shutting down Twitter feeds and whatever is pretty obvious, but it also includes stuff like that. If they can if they can just deactivate people's cameras while you're at a protest, then how can you get any evidence? Blah blah blah.
Yeah, and you've got no internet feed because they switch the wireless off, or it's just switch those off in those areas, turn them off.
Isolated the communication.
Don't buy an iPhone.
Yeah.
Just don't buy one to get a message. Not that that'll happen. It's far too trendy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Yeah, people will want the latest gadget.
Like you say, that's purely what Apple was always about right from the beginning. They brand marketing. That's it. The actual technology went along with it. Like you say, it was trailing. It wasn't cutting edge. That's it. All it was about was the brand marketing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think there is a good argument to say that even like the Apple logo, to me, epitomises that temptation. That's what they were saying with that logo. It's sort of subliminally saying to you, you can have what you think you're not supposed to be able to have. Succumb to the temptation, bite the apple. It's all about selling you shit that you don't need. It might look fancy. It might look like it's shiny object. What was it? Wasn't the Onion? It's another similar piece.
Shiny piece of shit. Sony piece of shit. That one you're on about.
It might have been.
Onion News or something.
There was a website. Was it the Daily Mash? I think it might be the Daily Mash. They did one. It's like buy shiny objects, solve all life problems. Shiny objects make it all better.
Yeah. I reckon that's what people are like, though. There's a lot of them who will get joy and pleasure for just a short amount of time. And they realise that it's just a piece of shit in the end, but they were bored into it.
The media, that's part and parcel of that consumerist, commercialist system, isn't it? The media pumps into you, like you've been saying about your recent experiences with your daughter. It pumped into them what they're supposed to want.
Yes.
And they just go along with it, and they get a sense of satisfaction when they acquire that thing, and it makes them feel they have gained status and all this kind of shit. It's such a fucking carrot and stick puppet show.
Yeah.
It's classic. The classic sort of anecdotal thing is like people saying like, "Oh yeah, I was in the shops and I bought this. I don't know why. I didn't really want it, but I just bought it." When they're doing their daily or weekly shopping or whatever, they go around the supermarket with the trolley and they put things in without really thinking about it. So why did you buy that? Why did you buy that particular brand? Where are these impulses coming from? Do you actually need this stuff? Or are you just being shunted subconsciously into, buying shit you don't fucking need?
That's it. It's just a big clever trick. It's
one of the biggest tricks. Like fucking hell, was it Gautier or somebody like that? I know it was one of the big jewelers because he stood up there once at a fucking. It was a convention or an auction or something. He blatantly said all our stuff is shit.
Well, that was Ratner's.
Junk. Was it Ratner's? Yeah.
Ratner's,
it's all junk. It's all fucking junk. But because we put a high price on it, you all think it's fucking the bee's knees. It's just like, yeah.
And then when it went bankrupt, it was all the shops had shut in about 6 months, I think, or something like that. The shares plummeted, and they had stores everywhere. Ratner's, they were in every major town in the country.
That's one of the biggest tricks. Like Apple does, they overprice their goods, which gives it a false sense of status, which means people desire it more because it costs more. It's like the label trick, because this says Lacoste on it, you will pay 10 times what you would pay for something that didn't say Lacoste.
Because it's quality, it's better made, it's got, that's why people get... Yeah, exactly.
That's all a fucking con.
And David Beckham wears it. So, that's the other thing, they follow what...
Store brands, like all the big supermarkets now do store brands. So they'll have their own brand name or the cheap price or smart price, all that kind of brand label.
Yeah.
Most of those goods are produced by exactly the same producers of the brand name version. And the brand name version will be twice the price of the store brand version.
Yeah.
I've always had a fucking hatred for Apple. I don't know why.
Yeah, me too, man.
It was like starting in the home computing stuff when it first started off, and like actually growing up at the same time that those companies began, and they were growing up and seeing all the shit that they did. I'm like, no, I fucking hate them. They had such an opportunity to make use of a newly birthing technology, and they just fucking turned it into yet another teat on the Babylon whore.
Yeah.
Come on, somebody else rant.
Hey? No, that's alright.
Somebody else rant. It's your turn.
Yeah, it's my turn. Oh, fucking hell,
It's going to be a bit annoying if I leave the audio on. It's going to be like...
I was watching a bit of Bill Hicks the other day. I was around seeing my daughter. I put it up on their YouTube thing, and I was watching it, and he's saying about sucking on Satan's cock. It's just making me laugh because he just goes on about it, and he does the microphone sort of noise. It's like that's what they're like. That's what people they just don't realise it. They're just sucking on the fucking
but
shit, man. It's just
It shows how deeply embedded we, as a group consciousness, I can't say global consciousness because it wouldn't include everybody, but as majority group consciousnesses, how deep we'd become entrenched during the 80s and 90s. We had really been drawn into the fucking matrix machine. The rise of fucking disaster capitalism started all around then and whatever. And that gave an emanation out through Bill Hicks himself, through somebody like him, through an agent that was Bill Hicks, in such a way that the only way to get through to people was to present them with such an offensive and gross and obvious portrayal of what we were putting up with.
Mm.
You know, because that's what he was doing. He was relying on shock comedy value. That was his comedy. His comedy shtick was shock attack comedy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's why he got so over the fucking top with that kind of stuff. Because it's like, look, the only way you're going to truly realise the truth of what it is I'm saying to you is if I fucking kick the living shit out of your denial barrier by shocking you so much, being so offensive in your face that you cannot deny what I'm saying. Yeah, it would be like Jesus getting up on the mount and instead of handing out bread and fishes, it starts jacking off in front of everyone.
Yeah.
It's like the only way I'm going to make you actually listen to what I'm saying to you and realise it and accept it is if I offend you so much that the shock and trauma causes you to stop and take a breath.
Yeah.
And in that moment... Sorry, you go.
At the end, it wasn't even comedy anymore. It was just like ranting at people and shouting, you know?
Yeah.
Flipping the pyramid.